Hello folks, I'm Dave Isaacs, and I want to talk to you about 5 ways you might be getting in your own way. These things are interrelated, so if you're struggling with one, you may very well be dealing with all of them and might not even know it. Number 1, the fret hand squeeze. Too many of you are working too hard. If you feel resistance in your left hand when you're trying to accomplish something, the odds are very, very good that the problem isn't that you haven't practiced it enough, but that there's something your hand is doing that's actively restricting you. And when you feel that restriction, you're feeling it as resistance, you're feeling it as difficulty. The idea is to not just see it as something you haven't surmounted yet, but something to look at and say, what is actually in the way here? And that squeeze is very frequently the problem. Too many people think about pressing on the back of the guitar neck, thinking that that's where the power comes from. But if you take your hand away from the guitar for a second, you can feel this, even just moving your thumb and fingers. Thumb against fingers has some power, yes, but not a whole lot. The power comes from the fingers pulling back, supported by the arm. When I play this chord, my thumb is not gripping at all, it's just resting, and I can feel the weight, the mass of my arm holding my fingers against the strings. This is not a high concept thing. This is simple mechanics. If you take one finger and touch a note on the first fret, you should be able to find a point that feels balanced, which means that you're resting on the string as opposed to having to mush it down. It helps to keep in mind that the string is three-dimensional. It's a cylinder. So this is not a typewriter. This is not a completely flat surface. We're actually sitting arguably on the top outer part of this string. If you think about it as just pushing straight into the fingerboard, you have no choice but to compress the muscles of your hand. But if I let it rest on the cylinder, I can hang, and I'm not involving the muscles of my fingers for anything more than directing the finer move to land on the target. This also frees up the left thumb, which does need to move around when you play different things. Your thumb should not be in the same place playing an F chord as it should be playing a C chord, odds are. And definitely not the same place it would be if I were playing this C chord. There's a whole range of motion that your fret hand is going to have, which is in 3 dimensions. Forward and back, thumb glides around, over the top. Anything that involves clenching, compressing, squeezing is actually in your way and stopping you from using this hand in a fluid way. Number 2, the locked arm strum. This is coming from another fundamental misconception that strumming is a 2-dimensional straight line. Down, up, down, up. Well, that already looks terrible, and it doesn't sound great. You can see how my arm is locked. There's nothing in the least unnatural about a swinging arm. If you take your hand, hold it like this, and just move up and down, you'll recognize that this is not a rigid movement, but an arc. There's an aspect of a curve to this, because to stop that from happening, you have to actively hold this arm in a straight line in a way that will immediately feel uncomfortable all through your arm, all the way through the tricep and up to the shoulder. It feels a lot more natural to just do this, so there's an aspect of rotating that arm. Different musical effects require a slightly different angle. If I want something more muscular, my right arm is going to look like more of a straight line. But even then, the move is a diagonal. And if you again consider the cylinder of the string, you can picture the pick gliding off. And when we get to the bottom of this, if I don't turn out a little, I'm just going to run into the face of the guitar. Sometimes that is something we want. But even then, I don't really want to slap against it. I want to make those strings resonate. That means that this hand swings. If you learn strums thinking about going down, up, down, up, down, up, I can appreciate how that can feel mechanical. But if you consider the way that your right arm very naturally can just do this by opening and closing your elbow, that is the swing of strumming a guitar. And as soon as you get clear that a down strum is like tapping your foot, especially if you snap the wrist a little bit so you feel the beat there. And then if I bring that against the strings, now I can feel the beat because my fingers are literally striking these strings. Your brain is getting the signal, the tactile feedback. You feel the contact, you feel the snap back, the resistance from the strings. That helps you gauge how much movement, how much effort. There's not a lot of muscle in this. This is not coming from my bicep. This is coming from leading with the fingertips and swinging the arm. Notice the follow through. If I stop here, my arm muscles have to engage. This is an effect we might use. But if I really want that chord ringing, I have to let my arm continue the swing. Just like with any other kind of activity where you're trying to direct something to a target. So this could be golf, this could be tennis, any number of things. Form matters, and the follow-through is part of your form. So if your strumming doesn't have follow-through, which does involve a third dimension, a little bit of a swing out away from the face of the guitar, it probably feels stiff. And I will say that if you're holding on one side, odds are good you're holding on the other. Sit down and play on camera or in front of a mirror and look at your shoulders and see if any of this is going on. Because that's related to the left hand squeeze and the locked arm strum. And all of this is related to item number 3, which is what I call body blindness. You really ought to be able to feel when you're gripping the neck so hard that you can't even release the fingers cleanly to get to the next chord. There's a sensation that goes with that. But we're so focused on, am I hitting the target? Am I in the right place? There's so many things to think about that you stop feeling, in the sense that there is a sensation here of feeling the grip. And I mentioned earlier that you perceive that as resistance. That's exactly what it is, as your hand saying, no, I don't go that way. And so finding that balance point requires you to pay attention to what this feels like. The same goes for the right hand over here. I have had people walk into my teaching studio 1,000 times strumming like this. And when I ask them how that feels, they say terrible. And the upper body is all twisted up, and you see what my shoulder looks like. If you're just paying attention to down, up, down, you might not even be aware that your shoulder is doing that. So that body blindness stops you from solving problems because you're not even registering the thing you are doing that is restricting your ability to move, and your ability to move is the thing that's going to bring you the freedom, the fluidity that you're looking for. Item number 4 is when your body blindness leads you into negative repetition, which means feeling that you need to keep practicing something again and again, deciding that the reason you can't do it yet is that you haven't practiced it enough, and then continuing to do the same wrong thing again and again. Obviously, that's a ridiculous example, but you're not accomplishing anything by doing that because it doesn't sound good, and as you continue to do it, it doesn't sound any better. A lot of your practicing, once you're past the stage of knowing where your fingers need to go, a lot of the rest of your practicing is practicing the balance and your mental picture, how clear you are about what you're trying to do. First, that just means memorizing the notes or the movements. Second, that means taking a closer look at those movements so that you can see when you're fluid and when you're not. This is where watching out for body blindness comes in. So when you are repeating something, if you're not improving it, if you're just thinking to yourself, Well, I always heard all my life, you just have to practice more, you just have to practice more, do it again, do it again. You're supposed to practice it till you can't get it wrong. Well, there may have been a time in your life when it worked like that. For some people, it actually does. But for most adults doing this, your body doesn't absorb, first of all, in the same way that it did when you were a kid. But second of all, repeating the same thing over and over and expecting different results is, of course, the definition of insanity, right? So if you are not evaluating what you're doing in those repetitions, you're actively reinforcing the problem. This also connects to number 5, perfection over process. I don't mean to say that you don't want to refine things. I don't mean to say that you don't want to play them well. But I'm saying perfection, while it sounds like a nice goal, is a frustrating thing to aim for when you're still trying to put all the pieces together. And a focus too much on perfection can lead you to really burn out on a piece of music before you really can absorb it fully. And you'll get so frustrated in the process that you grow to hate it. Practicing is a process. That process involves what I was just referring to, where you are watching for body blindness when you are looking for resistance. You are recognizing whether that resistance is coming from body blindness, that you don't feel what's going on. And then you apply that process of evaluation to what you're doing. What's in the way? Is it really a technical problem that my hands cannot accomplish this yet? And if they can't, how much do I need to slow down to be able to direct them more consciously so these repetitions are actually training the muscles as opposed to reinforcing being sloppy? If you are focused on the process rather than the perfection, you will enjoy every step of that, because all the time, all you're thinking about is, how can I make this one little thing better than it was the last time? The phrase I like to use is, you want to move the needle. But that's pretty much the extent of it. You are not aiming for perfection. Now, when you have a reason, a performance, maybe it's just your own sense that if you don't have something nailed down, you haven't accomplished anything, that's an important piece of the puzzle. If you don't have something to get ready for, maybe it's friends you jam with, maybe it's something you want to play for your family at a holiday, maybe there's an open mic night, maybe there is some kind of organized playing group in your church that you can join, any number of things. If you don't have any of that, you can set your own arbitrary choices and say, okay, in 3 months I want to be able to put my phone on the desk and record myself playing 3 songs beginning to end. That's fine. That's great. But the important thing is you need to be able to recognize and feel progress even before that progress gets you to the end. And this way of thinking is actually going to ultimately make your performances stronger, because you're taking a closer look and you are solving problems, teaching your hands how to do it better every time you look at it. All of these things are connected. The fret hand squeeze and the locked arm strum are clearly things that don't feel good and don't work very well. And so if you're not noticing that, that is a symptom of the body blindness that keeps you from identifying and solving that problem, where that resistance is. The body blindness lets you stay stuck in negative repetition while you are thinking you are trying to perfect it as you dig yourself deeper into the same hole. The best thing about this, once you understand these 5 traps, these 5 ways we get in our own way, is that the change you make is a very simple one. You start looking for the problems. You start looking for where you are using your body in a way that's unhelpful, that's making it harder. You start looking for the resistance. You start looking for where you're uncomfortable. You start looking for, wow, it really doesn't feel good when I play. What's the reason for that? Are you sitting like this and wondering why you can't get into an F chord and it hurts your wrist so much to bend this way? This looks pretty uncomfortable. I know you've seen people playing in ways that look uncomfortable and playing amazingly well. Those people have worked something out and it works for them. It won't necessarily work for you. If your body is telling you it won't, then listen to it, find a way that does, and do not worry about whether you are somehow missing some fundamental you are supposed to develop. This is not the way we want to think. This is back to perfection over process. It's not a question of what's perfect, it's a question of what works. And so every practice session is just trying to figure out what works. And most of that is all ultimately All of these 5 things about paying attention. I'm Dave Isaacs. Thanks for watching.